I've hooked a whale. I really have hooked a whale. It's in the middle of the lake now. Like all anglers, sometimes if there's nothing on the TV, I'll look at sites and look for tackle and things like that. The rods and reels aren't bad. I mean, we're very lucky in that respect. But I've noticed that the end tackle is expensive. I mean, it's £3.39. £3. All he has a bit of plastic and a bit of lead. You know, there's nothing to them, and the £3 a pop. See, £4, £3. Which one should we buy? Which stem do you want so that it'll fit all? These are new. I've just spotted these on the Angling Direct. An Advanta range of method feeders and hybrid feeders, which is their own brand, Advanta. Basically, I ordered 10 of these in 30 gram and I ordered 10 in 40 gram because I go on rivers, I lose a bit of a gambit, and what I was hoping for was that these stems would be interchangeable with my Preston hybrid feeders, my Banjo XR feeders, which is my preferred feeder. You know, I've tried them all, but so I wanted the stems to fit. So rather than pay £4 for a Preston feeder, I'm open to use these, but obviously I'll test it and see that they're good. But it does have a slot on the back, so they are quick interchangeable with, you know, if you want to put a cage feeder on or a bomber on or whatever. So that's what I went for. And this video is to show you my findings. But before I start, if I go back, there's other options. They don't just do the hybrid feeder. They do this long cast method feeder. I'll quickly show you the 149. I mean, this is the thing. They're all 149. They're 40 gram, 60 gram, and 70 gram. So they're your big method feeders. They might be a bigger stem. I don't know. But this video is about flat method. Somebody will have to confirm in the comments. But there's this method feeder as well. Now these do, again, 149, 20 gram, 30 gram, 40 gram and 50 gram. My thinking is the hook can get caught behind here or even behind your stem. This is why I don't like method feeders. Sometimes you'll reel in and your wafter and your hook's free. But how do you know it hasn't come free on the retrieve in the water? You know, how do you know it wasn't in there, you know? It's one of the reasons I prefer a hybrid feeder over a method feeder. So my thinking is, if I can get these to work, I'll test them. And if these are not bad at all, then I'll use my Preston feeders when I go to commercials where I don't lose them. And I'll use these flat hybrid feeders for when I go to rivers. But I want them interchangeable in case I put a cage on or a bomb on. Because I have Preston bomb. I have map pellet feeders, which I swear by. They really do. There's a sort of like very slippery, hard plastic, and swear by them. But sometimes I'll use these cage feeders. They're like a pellet feeder come cage feeder. They're like a hybrid, I would say. The release is very slow on these, so they're perfect on a river where you get a bit of flow through. They're not good on lakes. I've tried them. They always come back usually pretty full. But that might work if you have ground baiting or some additives, you know, some syrup or, you know, some smelly liquids. So you don't want to feed them, but you want to attract them in. So it could work in that sense. So anyway, I'm going to start the video and I'm going to show you all my results. This video is going to explain the best route, not just my opinion, I think just basically the absolute best route, which I'm going to prove. So there's no ifs, buts, or, you know, a lot of things are debatable. Like, for example, which is the best feeder. Things like that are debatable. But what I'm going to show you in this video is the best route to go down for interchangeability. Now, this came about because there's these new feeders off Angling Direct, and they're £1 each, right? Which is incredible when you think you've got the stem, you've got your line case, and you've got your hook connector as well. I mean, for example, your Prestons don't come with any kind of hook tie. And the thing is, these are £4, sometimes £5. So there's a real need nowadays to try and get some interchangeability so that you can have one stem on your rod in your bag. You get to the bank and you've got a box with different feeders in, and you can somehow get any feeder you want, or a bomb, or a pellet feeder, small, medium, large, or a cage feeder. and just slot them on, no messing about. That's what we all want, whether you're a match angler, pleasure angler, carp angler. Basically, that's what we want. We want fishing time and no messing about. So these were £1 and thought, I'll buy some, and I'll hope and pray that they're interchangeable with the Prestons, which is my personal favourite. But then I thought, if they're not, I'll just sell me Prestons and I'll go on to these if they work okay, because they're £1 a piece. Because I lose a lot because I fish rivers, you see. Okay, you don't lose them on commercials. But anyway, before I forget, something to point out about them. They actually feel very good, actually. But there's something I don't like, and it's not the 40-gram one. I think it's brilliant. It's this 30-gram one. And my bone with it is, if you flip it over, the way it's designed is, this tray is at the top, so there's no weight on the bottom. In my opinion, being an engineer, as that goes down in the water, it's a bit top heavy. The weight, you know, all the other manufacturers are getting the weight onto the heel, if you like. If that's a shoe, they're all getting the weight at the bottom. Look at Preston's, look. Plastic, weight at the bottom. So when it lands, it self-rights. Even if it comes down a bit of an angle, it self-rights. So my problem with this design is the 30-gram one is, it's likely to do that or bounce over. So I'm not going to use the 30-gram one. So there's a tenner wasted. Or maybe not. Because I bought 10 40 grams and 10 30 grams. On a river, I'm not going to put my hook bait into the feed anyway. I'm going to have a 1.5 foot hook length. So it doesn't matter on a river if it does turn over. In fact, if anything, it might be better because it might dig in. Yeah, this is kind of working as an anchor, if you like, a bit of a trough, and that might dig into the sand or the gravel and stop it moving about. So I think it's not money wasted. But if you guys don't fish rivers, do not buy the 30-gram ones, okay? So I'm going to put that to the side. So that's the difference between the 30 and 40 grams on the Advanta. Same length stem, same height. The only difference is the 30 gram, it's one tray in the wrong position, and the 40 gram, you've probably got two trays, or it's solid this area. That's the difference with the Advanta. Come with a standard hook length ties. Now it sits right inside. Now it's a great bolt effect. Now another advantage of this is, because it's so in bolt effect, basically I haven't tested it, but I can't see any problem with that. Now what I want to know is, are these interchangeable with the other feeders? Now before I do that, I'm actually going to go on to your more famous brands first. So I'm going to come back to that and you'll see why. The most common brands are the Preston, the Map and the Guru. Now I bought Preston's because I wanted one that I didn't want to worry which way up it was. And by all accounts, from my research, the Preston was the best one for self-righting. So that's what I went with. Now, the difference between the 30 gram and the 40 gram is they are a little bit higher, look. That's the first thing to point out. But the same size and the same length stem. Okay? The Maps, same thing again. Same size, same stem. It's a little bit taller. This is the embed system. You put your line in there. So that's an advantage. That's an advantage of the Map feeders. Another advantage of the Map feeders, the stems are quite long. So if you're doing long casts, it does aid with the casting. It's a longer feeder. I know that it looks a lot longer, but don't forget, the Prestons are a longer feeder. But they are about half an inch shorter. So as I say, the video's not to try and say which is the best feeder. It's up to you, you know. And there's the Gurus. The problem with the Gurus are they don't have a little groove down the bottom, so you can't swap and interchange your feeders like you can with the Maps and the Prestons, because they just sit over the line. Yeah. If you can imagine this black line is me line, you've got a stem on your line. All you do is take one off your stem and then put another one on, wherever it might be. Let's say you want a pellet feeder, you put it over the line, slide it on, right? With the Guru, you can't. However, there is a little mod you can make. Then it becomes like the Prestons. It becomes like that. But instead of obviously it being on the bottom, it's on the top. And you'd hacksaw through the top of there, so your line can drop in, and same thing again. It acts like that. Take one off. Up your line through coming that way and slide it on. Okay, a couple of little things before I continue. It's worth pointing out that the Gurus come with a little flat area on the bottom. Little flat area like that. Now, will that stop the interchangeability? The map feeders, this is the embed series, they do come with little hook length beads. You pull the front off, and there's a little groove to put your hook line in. That's what it looks like taken apart. So you can see, you have to put your line through this hole and do a knot. And your line, there's a little hole obviously there. So the line goes through there. And this one, now it does sit inside to work like a bolt rig. Right, interchangeability. This is what we all want to know. What I'm going to do, I'm going to start with anyone. Well, just for argument's sake, we'll start with the Prestons. So I've got a Preston stem. I want to know if it fits the map. Right, let's see. Yes, it fits the map. It's a lot shorter of a stem by about 16, 17 mil. Right, so that's good news. You're going to have to put your own sort of hook tie equipment on it, perhaps a swivel, some stop bead. Or if you've bought one of these, you can use obviously this one. Now, is it interesting? Will this stop bead fit in there? The answer is yes. It's a little bit on the loose side, so it'll go in, but it's not tight enough to work. So you can't really, the answer is no. Right, will this fit the Guru? So we'll take the Guru hybrid feeder. The Guru hybrid feeder's got a short stem actually. Will it fit? Bit tight. Yes, it does fit, and it fits quite nice actually. It fits really nice. That little sort of flattened area on the bottom doesn't make a heap of a difference. But remember, these aren't interchangeable, so you could put it on, but you'd have to cut the line to get it on, yeah? Unless you made that mod. But it does fit, yeah? Let's see if it fits the method feeder. It's a Guru method feeder. Yes, it fits. Same thing again. There's a flat area there, look, but it doesn't make a heap of a difference. It fits nice actually, and it's the right colour. So everything's hunky-dory. Same problem again. It's not interchangeable. You'd have to cut your line unless you made that mod. So the good news is the Preston stem is interchangeable with the map and the Guru. But will it fit the new £1 Advanta hybrid feeders? Let's see. I think the answer is no. Goes into about there. So technically you could use it if you were a bit of a bodger and you just wanted a bit of lead on. It's a shame because it's got that inline system. I think they've made a little mistake there really. Maybe they don't want them to be interchangeable, but it's on but it's not on. So the answer's no. Now one thing you could do, you could sand down this, I reckon, because it's nearly in. You could sand that down, or perhaps with a blade, just go carefully up and down it, take, you know, just for a minute, and then you would have a stem that still fitted your Prestons and your map. And I haven't done it. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll do it. Right, you can see where it only took me a few seconds. I don't know if it's worked or not. You can see I've just took a few edges off. Let me I'll over up after I've made this video. Right, let's see. Just go over it with you. Being an engineer, any rags will be friction and stop it going in. So if you're trying to put anything in anything, Just make sure there's no rags, because believe me, it's surprising how much of a difference that will make. Well, yeah, did you hear that? I done it live, but I needed 2 hands, and the answer's yes. So about 6 seconds of work, you can make it fit, and it fits quite nice actually. So that's great news, because I bought 10 of them, and I do not really want to just use them for rivers. I'd like to use them any lake that has snags. I'd like to experiment with them. Although they might be better, who knows, they might be better than them. There's one advantage is you don't have to put so much feed in. Yeah, I know a lot of lads in the winter, they put the pellets hard into the bottom first. They make a bottom layer and they push it in hard, so that doesn't come out. Well, you don't have to with this. You're saving a lot of bait. It won't, you don't have to put, you can just put a first layer in this area, put your wafter on, or your sweet corn or luncheon meat, whatever, in this area, on this plate, and then put your pellets on. And it's clever actually. I've just realised it's got holes here, look, so that the water, that's a good idea. That's a really clever idea. I reckon there'll be I've done lots of testing. You can watch me video on different pellet mixtures, and 2 and 3 mil mixers, and different brand mixers and different flavour mixers. I reckon because the water gets in there from below, it'll be a big explosion and your bait will always come off. If you want to use these though, what you should do is don't leave it as a mess like I have. You see, although it's fitted, it's all lows and highs. Just get just go put some emery paper on the bench or somewhere, and go like that, but keep it turning, yeah, so you don't get a high spot. Just sort of do that. See, it's turning, going for it's like what they call draw filing. You're going over it at an angle, so you're draw filing it, but if you can see my finger rolling it at the same time, that'll keep it all nice and smooth all the way around with no high spots, and then it'll go in dead easy, believe me. Let's now try the Advanta stem. Let's see if it fits the Preston. The answer is no. It does, but it sticks out 6 mil. But it fits in nice. You can get your cap on, no problem. So the answer is the Advanta does fit the Prestons. Let's see if it fits the map. Same thing, but even more sticking out. This time there's about 9 mil sticking out. And I just don't like the look of it. To a fish, don't forget this has got a collar on it. Kind of doesn't look natural. Your line cover on. So yes, but I don't like it. Let's try it on the Gurus. See if I can do this. So I can do this one-handed. Now, remember this has got a flattened area at the bottom. Will it be a problem? About 5 mil this time, so it's a little bit better actually than the other two. So what you could do is you could go Guru and Advanta. You could go down that route. If you've already got Guru feeders and you're sick of paying £5, £4, £5, you can get some Advantas. If you're a big fan of the Guru feeders, and possibly because you can get the elasticated stems, but you don't like the idea that it's £4 a pop, you think, oh well, I can get some Advantas, yeah, and I can just use my stems, yeah, in the Advantas in case I get a break off. I'm sick of losing big carp or snags, whatever. These don't fit. I've tried 2 in case there was a manufacturing problem, and I've tried both of them. They do not fit. I'll try and do it one-handed, but basically what happens is they go in about an inch, well about 10 mil, 11 mil, and that's as far as you can get them. Now I looked inside, it's a bit strange how they go in and then stop. And I don't know why, but the hole isn't the same. You can see it's being drilled twice, if you know what I mean. Can you see it there? I don't know if it's shown up on camera, but it's not the same diameter all the way through. It's kind of strange. Now, these are an easy fix, an easy mod. If you do want to use your gurus, just run a drill through there. It looks like a size 6, or you could get a 6.5mm drill, whatever. Yeah, you can see it there, look. So that's why it goes in about 11 or 12mm and then stops. So to about there, just before these holes. Something to do with the manufacturing process. So you can get them to work, but then you've got to start weighing up all the messing about. Is it worth it, you know? And don't forget, these won't be as good as the gurus. Or maybe they will. I mean, they're a bit bigger. You might want a bit more bait, you know. But remember, don't use the 30g one. It's a bad design, as I've said. Let's see if it fits on the method feeder. Yes, but it's like the map. It's sticking out about nearly 7mm, 6.5mm. To a fish, to me, that's not looking very good. So the answer's yes. But because it's sticking out on some of them, you don't want to make your main feeders Advanta because the stems don't fit the map. They don't fit any others really well. So Advantas are great, but it's not the main one you want to be buying for your stems. But it might be the main one you want for the bodies. But anyway, now we'll try the map. It's got the flat area. It's got the flat area there, which is to fit the flat area in the bottom of the map. Will that be a problem? But on top of that, you see there's a little spine. Now, will that be a problem? I'm thinking not, because I can get it in this little groove, hopefully. So let's try the map stem in the Prestons. Just turn it round. It goes in lovely. And it's a bit longer, so that's an advantage. It'll cast better. It feels less. What I liked about the Prestons is when I done that in my hand, it were very balanced. In other words, it wasn't tipping very much. But that's even better. Let me just go back. Let me just go back to a Preston. Rocket. That feels very short, but it feels, look, it's more wobblier. So I'm sure that a stem helps with that stabilizing effect. Anyway, let's see if it fits in the Guru. It's this spine. It's this spine in the middle there is stopping it going in. But maybe you can cut that off. So where's my hacksaw? Let's try. So that was live time. Yeah. Again, you would just go over it on some emery paper. Let's see if just taking that spine off allows the map stem to fit into a Guru stem. Yes, it does. Now the advantage of this is you get a much longer stem with the map than you do with a Guru. So let's see if it fits the method Guru. There's no span in it now, so the answer's yes. They're identical in that respect. I don't know if there's a pattern problem there. So that is perfect. Will the map stems fit the Advanta? Because I'm going to do a lot of river fishing. Let's see. Well, the answer is yes. sticking out about 1 millimetre, but I was going to argue about 1 millimetre. Now I could have left the spine on there for this, so if you don't have gurus, you don't have to take that spine off, and it would have fitted in that groove where the line is there and kept it a bit more stable. But I don't think it matters actually whether that spine twists on the feeder or not. In flight, because everything's moving, it's going to be a bit like that anyway. Is it going to be worse if it's twisted? I don't know. I don't think it's something you can test. Well, that's good news. So basically, the stem that you want is a map stem, and the reason is because it's longer. It gives you a better cast. It gives you a better balance when it's like that. It's less rocky, so it's going to be more likely to self-right when it hits the bottom than a very short one. You can buy those stems separate, and that's another advantage. You don't have to pay £5 for these if you don't really care for the maps. You can just buy their stems. It's the large. So basically, you'll see from testing, but basically you'll want the large, okay? That's exactly what I did, just in case they were good. And how lucky was I, because they turned out to be the best. So they were like £2.40 for two, got two boxes. So you get, that's it, you get them. So they work out £1 each. So you don't even have to buy the map feeders if you don't want to go down that route. They're a bit on the high side, if anything. Remember, the idea, if you've got big crafty carp and they're getting caught a lot, they will know what this is. All right, the idea is for the pellets to overload and create a plate, yeah? But because it's so high, it's still, even if it works ideal situation, you get the plate on, you've still got this big lip. Whereas you're not going to get it so much on the Prestons or the Advanta. But it's like, we don't know how much it plays a part. Then this is why everyone's got their own likes and dislikes. Some people like the gurus, Something to note, which I really don't like about the map feed, and it's not apparent at first. In fact, I've just noticed it, Something I really don't like. Why they've done it, I don't know. But there's a camber on the bottom. It's not flat. Now, I've got to remember is this is going on the bottom of a lake or the bottom of a river, right, which isn't flat. The last thing you want is to encourage any rocking. Yeah? Remember, you might be in a slow-moving river. That's just going to exaggerate. And also, when you cast in, because it's got this rock, you might land on a little bit of debris. Like that, yeah? Which is a great possibility, the lakes are covered in debris at the bottom, and it lands like that because it's got this taper on. It's just done it. My point in case, it's much more likely to tip over than if it was a Preston. See, it's much less likely to tip over because it's how it should be. It's flat on the bottom. I don't know why they did that. To me, that's a kind of a schoolboy design error. And it's quite a lot. It's not just a little bit. It encourages it. It's just a bad design. Very bad design. I mean, they'll be even longer. They'll be even more self-right now, because that's another advantage. If you use a map stem on a Preston Banjo XR, you get a longer stem. So they'll be even more stable. I'll actually show you. The Preston stem is a little bit short, in my opinion. It should be a bit longer. Considering the size of the feeder itself, it's relatively short compared to other brands. But in your hand, if you do this, if you just rock it in your hand and sort of feel how, not aggressively, just sort of not gently either, it's kind of medium, kind of like medium rocking it like that, yeah. It kind of feels self-righting. But when you put in the longer map, wrong end. When you put in the longer, and it is significant, by the way, we're talking It's about 17 mil. But now when you rock it, it's definitely more stable. So if that equates as it's going through the water, it's not even, and actually with this being a bit loose, I think that's another advantage as well. I think that it's a mistake having it locked in. I think that it's better to have this twisting round, because if you can feel it twisting round, it would self-right rather than. But who knows? That's a debatable one. I don't think any amount of testing will get to the bottom of that one. Can you use the standard little hook length connectors on the map stem? On the Prestons, I reckon you could, but it's loose, as I said earlier. So you could and you couldn't. It won't work as a bolt effect, and it won't also on the map because it won't go in. But don't forget, on the map stem you get the map hook tie connectors, and they are a bolt rig. They fit in, don't forget, they fit in there tight. So that's another advantage, yet another advantage of having a map stem on, because you a bolt effect. Don't forget, on the Guru it sits in exactly the same as it did with its original stem, and you've got a bolt rig. Okay, you haven't got an elastic system, but you've got a bolt rig. And if we go on to the Advanta, it fits up nice, and you've got a bolt rig. Now originally, if you remember, it does come with a bolt rig. It comes with these, yeah, and they are sat in like that. So they do come with a bolt rig. Remember, the idea is to quickly change, so we can now, on the map stem, we can put a Preston bomb on a map stem. We can put a 15 gram pellet feeder. So if the fishing's, all the fish are in your swim and they're going crazy, you do not want to overfeed them, you can just put 5 or 6 maggots, if you've got maggots on, 5 or 6 maggots in there, pinch over it with the ground bait. That's going to be very inobtrusive. Or if you want to kick off the peg again, you know, it's going to be dead, you can just use a medium pellet feeder. Or if the fish are really going berserk and you want to keep them feeding, and you don't want them to move, you don't want to spook them, you're confident, you can go really positive and use the large pellet feeder. I did buy these Preston semi-cage feeders. They're sort of a pellet feeder but in a cage style, and they're large, 45 grams. Now you can get a large 30 grams, so it's just a bit less lead. But the reason I bought large is I thought they would come with the large stem, but they don't, yeah. So I bought a load of these thinking I would get the large stems, and this is why I'm telling you so you don't do the same mistake. They do not fit your feeder. So all of them are not redundant, because I can use them on me, well, I'm not going to go the Preston route now. They're not redundant. I can use them on me map stems. So what I'm going to do is, and this is what I propose people do, if you have 3 feeder rods or 4 feeder rods, whatever amount of rods you use or take with you, or you have set up, so you're not messing about, is you want to buy that amount in a map. So they're all on your rods, on your line, ready to go. And they will fit anything, yeah. Now, there's another advantage of this map, which comes into something like this, look. When you have a longer stem on this, you will not believe how steady it is. I mean, I've never of all the things I've tested, you can't hardly twist it. It's incredible. The stems that come with are far too short. Now you could use a stem off the Banjo XR feeder, which will make a little bit more. But look, what's the difference? Watch how much. Yeah. Now watch when I put the map. Watch when I put the map in. That's amazing. So the way to go, gang, basically is you want map stems, and they will fit any feeder, or you can get them to make any feeder. Yeah, that is the way to go. Hope this saves you a lot of messing about. At the end of the day, it's all about catching, and I hope this helps you catch more, gang. Watch my other video about pellets, testing and more testing. It's quite shocking, the different pellet mixtures you can achieve. You know, the way they offload. Oh, this is looking good. Perfect. 25 seconds. Right, well there, that's just 35 seconds. That's about perfect. If you get a hacksaw, and if you hacksaw down the middle of there, and down the middle of there, obviously you take the you don't do it while the stem is in, of course, but you right through there. If you sand it very carefully with some emery paper so that it won't damage your line, should your line get in the way. I mean, the line's not in that area, but should it come over the top and wrap round, you don't want it. I've done the mod. Now, the plastic one was dead easy because it would cut through dead easy. This metal one was a bit more difficult because I didn't have a new blade, so I've made a bit of a mess. What you don't want to do is do what I did and make it shiny. The idea is to keep it camouflage, but I couldn't cut through because my hacksaw blade was that blunt, so I've kind of forced it through. But anyway, you can see that is a mod. If you had a good hacksaw blade, it would take about half a minute, if that. It didn't take very long, and that's what it looks like. That's the mod.